angels waging war in the unseen realm. Global events fulfilling biblical prophecy. Eternal life. What lies beyond mortality? From analyzing the paranormal from a biblical worldview to the discussion of cutting-edge science and technology, conspiracy, discovery, special investigative reports. Unafraid to explore the challenging issues facing humanity. Welcome to another edition of Skywatch TV.
Hi folks, this is Tom Horn, and as promised, I'm back again to give you an update on the sevenfold vision. First of all, though, let me introduce part of the team from the Whispering Ponies Ranch, the administrative leadership that's with me in the studio here today. Joe Artis.
Hey Tom, thanks for having me.
Nita Horn, the beautiful one, and James Howell, who you haven't had an opportunity to meet before. James, great to have you with us here today.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Yeah, James is he's a board member for our nonprofit and actually the VP of the organization, so we have to treat him well, otherwise we could get ourselves into trouble. Well, last time, Derek and Sharon Gilbert interviewed me on the sevenfold vision for Skywatch Television, and you learned, of course, at that time that there's a whole lot more going on here than making television. It involves what we call the Whispering Ponies Ranch, which is a retreat facility that we're going to be talking about more here in a moment, and a lot of other issues that we are involved with. And at that time, what's interesting is that almost everything that we were talking about was still just a future vision. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. Well, I'm back to give you the good news that, first of all, as you can see, we said we were going to build a new studio, and boy, have we. It really feels like we're sitting right in the middle of Fox News here, doesn't it?
Well, yeah.
And poor Joe has spent the last few weeks here trying to get all of this lighting correct, but we think we're pretty close to having it.
Very close.
We've got a whole lineup of people coming in that'll be sitting in this brand new studio with me here in the weeks to come. I'll tell you some of those names in a moment. Some of the other things that we talked about that day was we had said that Derek and Sharon were settling into their new digs and that soon they'd be making daily television. Well, as you probably already know, you can go to skywatchtv.com Monday through Friday and get the news analyzed from a Christian worldview from our news desk anchor, Derek Gilbert. I want to thank all you people that have been emailing in and talking about Derek and the news updates and how much you appreciate them. Last time around, we also had said that we were going to have a Roku channel. Well, if you don't know it, go there, sign up for our Roku channel. It's been online now for about 30 days, and as I understand it, we are already getting over 100,000 video plays a week right now, and the Roku channel is just taking off like crazy. Another thing we mentioned that day, Skywatch Magazine. It was just an idea, right? We're now in our 4th month of publication. The magazine is still only online, but very soon it's going to go to print, and we're going to start mailing copies to all of the people that are our subscribers and our viewers. We also mentioned that day our conference. Well, since then, we've signed a contract with a hotel, with a conference facility, and you're going to be hearing some really big news about the upcoming 2016 conference. It is going to be the one to be at. Everybody who's anybody that's in the news today has already signed up to be part of that. And then finally that day, we also mentioned an upcoming television program that is going to be dedicated to women only.
Right.
Sharon Gilbert's going to be the host. 2 or 3 of the other women from Whispering Ponies Ranch and Skywatch TV will be part of that, and it'll be news and issues and events that are seen through the prism of a woman's point of view. Now, why do I have this elite group of people with me today from the Whispering Ponies Ranch? Well, we've also got big news about Whispering Ponies Ranch. And first of all, though, let me start out by asking a question. Any one of you can take this question. I understand that yesterday you went to an event. And it took place inside of a care facility, right?
Right, yep.
Who wants to tell me what was that about? Why did you go? What does it have to do with the Whispering Ponies Ranch?
Well, as you stated before in the original Sevenfold Vision, we showed some B-roll of animals and their involvement with the therapeutic side of some of the care that these individuals receive. And you find that a lot of the folks that are in like care facilities or assisted living situations, they don't get as much visitation as I think a lot of the population assumes they do. And you learn really quickly that a lot of these individuals might not, if it weren't for visitors, people external from the family coming in to visit or do something like this, they receive no fellowship at all outside of the staff. And as you talked about in the original Sevenfold Vision show, that animals and their handlers have this wonderful opportunity to go into these places and do something special and receive something special that's quite magnificent. And when you look at what can be done with the use of animals, a lot of times individuals struggle to communicate, or individuals that for whatever reason are shut down socially. When you introduce an animal, this is not a person who's going to use them for something. This is not a person with an agenda. They're not there to take advantage of in any way or abuse these people. You enter a room with an animal and suddenly there's like this magical interest immediately. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there's the horse. Oh, I can't believe it. And it's exciting, and it really takes the barriers of communication and kind of brings them down, and now you're just having this wonderful interaction. And a lot of the feedback that we get from the staff at these particular venues is that this might be the only visitation that these people receive, period, apart from very limited visits perhaps from family, but also that the nature of it, because we're introducing animals, that's also kind of an exceptional, spectacular kind of an event. And it can be some of the best times that these folks are having, inside of a given month. So
right. I mean, and as studies have continued forward over the years, and especially as Americans and most of the world have become a lot more open to using animals, in particular for therapeutic purposes. I mean, the military is finding that people that are suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome, they get these therapy animals, or they get these what do they call them? It's the pets that they keep for themselves.
Companion
animals. How that has just I hate to use the term mystical because the New Age has kind of ruined that, but but there's something about it that goes beyond what humans can do because we've lost that trust factor. When we worked for years at a place called Camp Davidson, some of the things that we learned there is what we intend to do at the Whispering Ponies Ranch involved the uses of animals to help there, in particular, specialized camps that were called Royal Family Kids Camps. And these are kids that, for whatever reason, have become wards of the state. Either their parents have died, or in fact, more often, I think they were abused. These are children that may have been physically abused or mentally abused, and they wind up belonging to the state. And these are kids that have really closed down. And we would watch them come into Camp Davidson. I mean, the first day they're there, they look like hardened criminals. Very young little children, and you realize that they're at a point in their life where they could go either direction, right? They could become the next Jeffrey Dahmer, or they might become the next Billy Graham, but their life was really at a point, and you would watch during the week how every day their countenance would be changing. And very slowly, these kids that had no trust in humans at all because they'd been abused through using small ponies or puppies or whatever it was they were using, those barriers started coming down, and now you could bring them back to a point of healing, and they could learn trust again. But that animal was that key member. They were a part of your staff. They were a valuable part of your staff. And so we intend to do the same thing at Whispering Ponies Ranch, and actually it happens two ways. One, before the end of this fall, we will be running our first day camps at the Whispering Ponies Ranch. So that's part of our big update here, is that we will be at a point where we will be running our first events at the Whispering Ponies Ranch. That's where groups of Royal Family Kids camps or other people, it could be adults, that are going to come to the facility and in different kinds of ways. The land, the prayer trails, they can fish there, they can hike there, they can go on walks on the prayer trails. But for some of these kids, we're also going to be using these therapy animals. Now, in some instances, the animals that you're certifying for therapy, you actually are taking them to remote locations, which is kind of what you did yesterday. Anita, I want to ask you a question because at this event yesterday, there was a horse there that actually belongs to the Whispering Ponies Ranch. Tell me who that horse is and why was it there?
Well, we had this wonderful opportunity to take our little 28-inch Palomino miniature horse named Blondie down to visit with our friend Jenny Keist, and she had her little horse Go Baby. And so we took both these little horses and Seeley, which you're fixing to meet, into this facility to do a visitation. It was Blondie's first time, so we were a little bit apprehensive how she's going to react because she has never seen wheelchairs. This is part of their training. She handled all of the people grabbing at her ears. They want to muzzle up underneath the nose is one of the things that they, just all in her face all day long for 2.5 hours. And she did awesome, and James was there to help. He kind of managed the head end, and I kind of walked behind to make sure she didn't get, nervous or anything. But I didn't even need to be there. She was just awesome.
So she's been down there, Jenny, that you mentioned.
Jenny Keist.
And that's what she does.
Yes.
She specifically trains miniature horses for therapy uses.
Yes.
And she's been written up. She's been in the media. She's been on the news.
She's a
Very
very
good.
high-level trainer.
She's been a good friend of yours now
Yes.
for some years, which ironically actually
Yeah.
goes back to you buying a horse from her and then giving it back to her later
Right.
on.
Right.
But very sweet woman and specialized trainer.
Right.
And but this is one of, we have many horses that are going to be involved in the program. She's one of them.
Right.
And she's been in training. Some people are probably saying, what, a 28-inch horse? I mean, this is a tiny little animal, and yet she's actually big compared to some. You've got the world's second smallest miniature horse, which is like 18 inches tall.
Chigger.
And she's involved in therapy uses. Yeah, Chigger. I want to ask James a quick question about what motivates him to be involved, because I don't think you were involved in this type of ministry up until now. You are the VP of this institution. You're also a board member of our charitable organization, nonprofit. And yet it seems like you've been taking on an increasing role. You're not on salary. You don't draw a salary. You're donating large amounts of your time.
Right.
What was it about this that made you even want to be part of it?
Well, I get fed pretty well, so that's always a good plus. But I've learned a lot, and it's a matter of service for me mostly. We've all been blessed in various ways, and I feel in response to being blessed that some kind of service it feels right to me to extend that as a response to the blessings I've received, and it's been fun. So,
And plus, you and I were talking about, and this before we went on the air, we were talking about the biblical principles that are behind this, and the numerous places in Scripture where it talks about God and His relationship with creation, and why He made them and how He uses them. And Jesus even saying that not even a sparrow falls to the ground, that God does not account for it. So there is a unique, special ministry. And when animals are brought back under dominion, right? That's what one of these books goes into, that we're going to tell people how they can get their own copy of it. When they're brought back into dominion, they become part of a covenant family. Even raises questions about whether they'll be in heaven, things like that.
Right.
But specifically, the Whispering Ponies Ranch. Now, let's mention some of the things that we're doing there right now. Not only do we have animals that are in training, and very close to a point where we can start actually using them for both on-campus and off-campus ministry uses. The last time we talked to the audience about the sevenfold vision, we had just gotten started with some of the construction. We would want people to know that the large training facility is already built. It's already finished.
Right.
Tell me, What do you use that facility for? Why do you need such a great, big, huge horse arena when you're using these miniature horses? What are you going to use it for?
Part of what we would love to do is build an obstacle course in there that gives us an opportunity to expose these animals to just about anything that you would need them to know before they go out into the field. You know, for instance, things that you walk over, things you walk through, mop buckets. I mean, everything to a little animal, to horses especially, can be very scary.
Like transitions in the floor.
Yes, the flooring itself can be very
If
frightening.
you go from vinyl to carpet, they can stop.
Yes.
You know, having to cope with a new kind of
Yes.
floor.
Bricks even. Just anything that looks different or feels different to them can be a big challenge for them.
Mailboxes.
Everything.
Well, you were mailboxes. You were telling me that basically think of it this way, that a horse thinks everything in the world wants to eat it.
Yeah, they pretty
So when
much
you
do.
open a mailbox, that's a giant
That's a
mouth,
big
right?
mouth, yeah.
Or you're going to go in a tunnel, another mouth.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
bigger one.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Right.
but also things like all of a sudden loud clapping
Right.
sounds.
Yes.
You might be
Yes.
inside of a facility and you don't want
Yes.
a horse to
Right.
get spooked and
Right.
bump into somebody. A wheelchair, what is it? It's scary to
Yes.
them. So part of your obstacle course is teaching them to walk over, walk in.
Right.
Right.
These horses have to be able to walk inside of a building and
Yes.
not go to the bathroom.
Right.
They might be in there for 2 hours.
That's
Right.
right.
And you're potty breaking horses,
Yes.
right?
Potty trained.
They've got to be able to go in an elevator.
Yes.
Now, if a horse has a hard time walking over a piece of plastic
Right.
on the ground, imagine what it feels like to a horse to walk into an elevator and have the floor start moving and
Right.
their
Exactly.
sense of elevation.
Right, not
So,
to mention the elevator doors opening up, yet another mouth.
yet another mouth.
It's all scary.
Right.
It's called strategical desensitization. And this is what we do with dogs and with miniature ponies. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, I saw James in the arena, and he had, what was it? It was a plastic bottle, or it was a shopping bag at the end of a stick. Because when he whips it around, it goes. But James knows how to introduce just a bit so that the horse isn't overwhelmed, and then conceal
Right.
the device or the apparatus or whatever it is that's setting the horse into a stressful state of mind. And then the horse begins to relax, and then he'll introduce it again. And then over time, what happens is that eventually you can just wave that sound or that item around, and the horse is not reactive to it at all.
Right.
And that's necessary because, like, when you go into a mixed environment like we were in yesterday, you have, like Nita mentioned, wheelchairs. You have walkers. You have
Canes.
Yesterday, for example, there was an outburst. It was a totally unforeseeable outburst, and it happened almost immediately when we came in. We were there 3 minutes.
Right.
And two of the individuals that
Residents.
live there, the residents, began a verbal scuffle over who was going to get to pet the horse first.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
At first, some of our team thought that they were kidding, but no, it was indeed, it was a scuffle to see who was going to get to the horse first. My
Yeah.
turn in line, I want to pet. Well, the horse was totally not reactive. So when Nita says this was the first visit, just so that we're clear, this horse has been through this strategical desensitization
Sure.
process for weeks and weeks and weeks building up. They don't even do their first visitation until they've been field tested in
Right.
local controllable environments, so that hopefully that, like yesterday, that's the reaction that you want, is that there is no reaction. The
Right.
horse stood there like,
And you know what? There's something that I love about this, folks, is, Anita was explaining this to me the other day, this metaphor from our relationship with God.
Right.
That if you can get an animal, what eventually happens with the animal is they get to where nothing distracts them. Why? Because they have so learned to trust their
Exactly.
handler.
that's
It's
right.
a
That
trust-building
that they
exercise.
know that no matter where they're at, sounds, weird devices, whatever, but if I'm with the handler,
That's
I'm
right.
okay.
Right.
They're not going to put me in a situation that they can't control or in which I would be harmed, reflecting the same relationship really that we ought to have with God. Because life throws a lot of stuff at us, right? Unexpected events. You suddenly open a door, something's happening. But if you can come to the point where you can know that I'm with God, I'm walking with God, and He's never out of control. There's
Right.
never anything that He can't control. So my trust is no longer in myself,
Right.
my own finances, my
the
own kung fu.
surroundings.
So what a cool metaphor that you, in taking dominion over animals, are extending that whole Genesis creation, where God has dominion over man, but He gives man dominion over animals, and yet that whole relationship between
Right.
trust. And so I in particular really loved that. I thought, wow, this is like the follow-up book to Do Our Pets Go to Heaven? We're gonna have to hurry because we're gonna run out of time in a few minutes here. And there's a few more things I want to bring up. That you not only have built this big training facility, it's in use now. We also are right now, all of the plumbing and infrastructure is in place. The foundation has been laid for the public bathrooms. And also this week, the men are coming in with the equipment where they're going to put in an RV park. Now, the RV park could be used by people that are visiting, but it also can be used by volunteers, like
Right.
MAPS volunteers that come and donate their time or
Right.
part of their time during the year. And we provide complete hookups. So they've got water and sewer and power.
Right.
Now, we also have, and I want to make the public aware of this because it's something that we're just praying about right now. All of the land right next to us has suddenly become available, a forest. It's 108 acres.
118.
118 acres. It's somewhat expensive. If you watched the first Sevenfold Vision update a couple of months ago with Derek and Sharon Gilbert, you know that Nita and I actually came to Missouri to retire. And we took all of our retirement income and we've put it back into the 150 acres that we have now to develop the Whispering Ponies Ranch and built these facilities. We've also built the lodge. We've built a beautiful 4,500 square foot lodge that'll host about 50 people, up to 50 people.
Right.
But now we're at a point where we don't have the money to buy this land that is adjacent to us, but we would love to so that we could extend what will become the Whispering Ponies Ranch retreat facility where both adults and children will be able to come for restorative ministries. And the lodge that we've built could, of course, also be used for like a women's retreat or a writers' conference. So there's really not going to be any limit on how it could be used. We're sharing with you what really our motivation is, though, and what's driving it is this therapy-type ministry where children and adults can go through a healing process. That's really what is motivating us. And I want you to help us pray about this land. I would love to purchase it. I don't have the money to purchase it right now. And we are at a point in our ministry where Defender Publishing is actually generating the revenue. When people buy books or DVDs or any of that product, it's the revenue coming in from Defender Publishing now that's paying salaries, personnel to run the Skywatch television. And there are people who also are making donations. We are a 501c3. Tax-deductible donations can be made to us. And we appreciate those who have been doing that. But we want you to pray with us about this land. Because if we should buy it, we would want to do that before somebody else perhaps buys it, and then maybe they develop it in ways that we don't want right next to the Whispering Ponies Ranch. So please pray with us about that. And if you can, make donations to help us move the Whispering Ponies Ranch forward. Before we run out of time, we are going to offer for $40. Now this is $85 worth of material. We're going to send you Mike Huckabee's book, Dear Chandler, Dear Scarlett, A Grandfather's Thoughts on Faith, Family, and the Things That Matter Most, which reflects, of course, some of the issues that we deal with here at the Whispering Ponies Ranch. Also, a very important book, actually, Do Our Pets Go to Heaven? This is a question that scholars have asked throughout the centuries, and we actually came into some pretty amazing information included in the Bible during the research for that book. We also have a training DVD. Now, this is a best-selling training DVD, The Natural Dog Training Method. It's actually put together by Joe Artis. It's been one of the best sellers ever since it came out. How long is this DVD?
2 hours.
It's 2 hours, and it goes through all of the basic things. I'm reading the back of it. The correctional touch, the walk, feeding by invitation, properly giving treats and rewards. It goes through everything you need to know on how to teach your dog to behave in a way. In fact, we're going to introduce him to a dog in a moment that's been through some of this training, but who also is now part of the Whispering Ponies Ranch Ministries. And then finally, here's a gigantic book that we just put out, the George Hawkins Pember Collection. This has not been available until now. We actually,
Brand new.
we
Beautiful.
scoured, yeah, it's never been for sale before. We scoured the universe. We found all of the most important works by George Hawkins Pember, some of which are not available anywhere. They're not online, they're not in PDFs, you can't get them anywhere. We had to find old copies of those books, and then we paid a lot of money to get them, and then we had to retype them. They're in the public domain, and we have put it together in one oversized collection. 6 complete classic works in one volume, the George Hawkins Pember Collection. This book alone retails for $30, but we're going to send you all 3 of those books, plus the Natural Dog Training DVD for $40, over $85 value, and these will be in the store. You'll be able to find that online at skywatchtv.com. Before we get out of here, Joe, I understand that we have a special guest
We do.
with us today.
A very special guest.
Yeah,
Should we bring her in?
sure, let's do it.
I'd like to introduce the Skywatch TV audience to Celie. Celie, come here, baby girl. Come here, girlie. She's never been on TV before. She's wondering what all the lights are about.
Yeah.
And I want to show the audience at home, because this is just fun, why they named her Celie.
Oh, because she looks like a little seal.
Yep, you pull the hair back, she's a little baby seal.
But you've got her like a little baby lion or something there with that.
Yeah, this is the fox cut. This is the fox cut, so.
Well, folks, I appreciate you watching Skywatch Television, supporting everything that we are doing here. At the end of the day, our efforts are about ministering the healing that comes from Jesus Christ in a way that can come from no other. We also, of course, are taking the gospel around the world via television. We are about to go on to hundreds more television stations. We ask you to help us do that. Here's the main ways in which you can help. Number one, please do pray for this ministry. If you would, every day when you pray, remember to lift up Skywatch Television and Whispering Ponies Ranch before the Lord. Ask the Lord to keep us on track and to be wise with the opportunities that He has given us. The other thing is purchasing books through our bookstore right now is the number one way that revenue is coming into this ministry. And so somebody else may have the book. Amazon may even have it for a few dollars less than we do, and they have shipping rates that we can't touch. But just know that when you purchase something from the Skywatch TV store, it is going into a ministry. It is helping us take the gospel around the world. You can make a tax-deductible donations. Right now, Whispering Ponies Ranch is the largest monetary needs we have, because building large structures costs a lot of money. And we're doing it as we can. And we wanted to come back today and let you know that when we spoke to you 2 months ago, it wasn't a pipe dream. We've essentially done everything we've said we were going to do, and we are doing it right now. And we appreciate your prayer and your partnership. James and Nita and Joe and Celie, thank you for being with me today on Skywatch Television.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having us.